Monsieur Livre.
Salut, bonjour.
I'm going to put on my headphones. This is going to be first time using headphones tonight, but I just want to get the best audio we can.
Sure.
Oh, wow, that's loud. Nice. Okay, kill the volume a bit.
Turn it up.
Now, just to get you acquainted with the show, I never start with the T-shirt that I'm wearing for the show. So this is the pre-show T-shirt. I will change into a show-appropriate T-shirt when we actually begin.
No. You need to leave that on for James. He loves the Golden Girls. And he will be highly impressed that you have a shirt.
Is James going to be watching?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Well, I got to put on the real shirt when we start the list. That
is the real shirt.
Because
I have one on. I put it on for Deke. This one's for Deke.
The 94.90 is that Stones Voodoo Lounge tour.
This is Voodoo Lounge.
Yeah.
Yep. And there's a story to it. So that one's for Deke.
One other thing I need to acquaint you with.
Yeah.
Is one of our regular every single week viewers is Rob Daniels from Visions and Sound.
Cool.
And he really, going back to when I was making videos at the beginning of COVID, he really likes when I do the Voivod thing, which is this. Voivod!
I remember that.
Oh, we got Agent
Deke in another one. I know it. So when you shout that, I won't be too surprised. Oh, look it. There he is.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Deke.
Nice, man.
Huh?
So I was just explaining to Monsieur Livre that this isn't the real T-shirt. I will be changing into the real T-shirt.
I told him he needs to leave it on. That is a smoking hot shirt.
For the love of God, please leave it on.
Okay, fine. I'll leave it on. It's awesome. As somebody was pointing out earlier, it's long sleeves, so I'm kind of hot, but sure, whatever. Anything for the audience. Plus the co-hosts have spoken, and they've outvoted me 2-1.
There you go.
There we go.
Democracy.
So yeah, this is the shirt of the show now. This is here we are. Hooray!
Yes. Hey, look at it.
Hooray for new traditions. I don't change my shirt this time.
So you're an agent for who, Deke?
Oh, it's a long story. One time I had to get T-Bone over the U.S. border back into Canada. So yeah, we'll just leave it at that.
That's a bigger story.
Yeah. We'll just leave it.
So speaking of shirts, I just have to say, Deke, I'm wearing this shirt for you.
Nice.
This is Voodoo Lounge.
That is the Voodoo Lounge. Yeah.
Now I got to tell you, this is the show you and I were at.
That's right. Yeah. 94
at Exhibition Stadium in Toronto.
Yeah. Me and T-Bone, they did a fly down package from Thunder Bay.
Cool. Canadian connection.
Yeah. So we flew down and like two knuckleheads, we got there the day of the Friday night show.
Yep.
And do you think we would have thought of going and getting scalper tickets and going? No, we didn't. We had tickets to the Saturday night show, which was, so yeah.
That's the one I was at.
Yeah, that was raining a bit, and yeah,
Didn't matter.
No, it didn't matter. We were in sitting in the section at the CNE that had the cover of the roof over us.
Oh, you're lucky. I was 35th row, right in the middle, so we got wet.
Yeah, but you had a great.
I didn't care.
You had a great view. So
they also, some interesting trivia about that. That was the first time in the tour they played Satisfaction.
Ah, no kidding. Never knew that.
They said they were sick of that song. They weren't going to do it anymore. And then the second night in Toronto, they played it.
Cool.
So I can die happy because I saw the Stones play Satisfaction.
Nice.
Right. Also interesting, we got pepper sprayed that night.
No kidding.
You know how to party, man.
No, it wasn't us. It turned out that there was a guy in this is okay. This is what do they call that dumb criminals thing where they catch the people being stupid?
Oh yeah. Like
right. It's kind of like a Darwin Award, but for criminals.
America's dumbass criminals.
Yeah. So this guy apparently was wanted for an assault on a woman.
America's most.
Mikey, you're freezing, buddy.
Yeah, you're a little choppy.
Yeah, I know. I'm having some problems here.
Oh, you're at the cottage.
I'm
so
having some issues.
You're on the Wi-Fi.
Your audio sounds a-okay.
Yeah, the audio's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, anyway, the cops caught this guy at the show because he was dumb enough to buy the tickets in his own name.
No kidding.
So they just waited till the show started, and then they came in from both sides and went to that seat, and I guess he resisted, so they pepper sprayed him. But because the exhibition stadium is a bowl, it got all of us too, because the wind was going around.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, it was a good show though. So good though that I went in December of that year to see them again in Minneapolis.
Nice. Oh, where'd Mike go? Oh, there he is.
Hey. Cottage Wi-Fi, my friends.
Nice.
Yeah, cottage Wi-Fi.
It's all good.
Could you hear us though?
No.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Whatever you have said is.
You'll never know, Mike. We were talking about you.
I'll never know.
It's all good.
Well,
hey, how come I'm seeing Tom Cochran in the top left?
Okay, so
right.
Long story short, I decided to do a trial of 1 month for this paid version of StreamYard, and part of that is I can add a little graphic in the corner. And I didn't have much available on my computer, but I saw that graphic, and I'm like, wait, okay, so Aaron's the bald one, he's Stewie. I'll be the dog, I'm Brian, and then Deke can be the cool one, Tom Cochran. So that's us. That's tonight's theme, is those three guys.
How come Deke gets to be the cool one?
Well, honestly,
it's by age. We're going by age.
It could have been, but it also could have been just that I started with the bald one because that was easy and obvious.
Sure. Pick on the bald guy.
I know. I'm just being honest with you. Hate on me if you need to, but you know what? I'm going to start. We got 5 viewers now. I don't know who they are, but hello.
Hi, people.
I know Rob's out there. I've got 2 lists to read tonight, one of which is my own and one of which is from Dr. Catherine.
Ooh. She of the bass clarinet fame.
The fame. She's hopefully watching. We have Derek with his own list and one from Dar, I believe, right?
Yep, Dar submitted a list. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate. Every time we do a list show, I'm going to rotate the Erickson brothers.
Cool.
That's hilarious.
Tonight it's Dar, and then next time we do something that's list-oriented, and if I'm on it, it'll be either T-Bone or his other brother Rugg. So yeah, I'm gonna get them all. It just
Daryl or his other brother Daryl.
You know.
Yeah.
Stuff. You know, it's just like blah, 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 and yeah. So it'd be nice to read Dar's. We can maybe focus on it a bit more easier and move on and stuff like that. So yeah.
So I figure the 3 of us will go in rounds like we normally do.
Sure.
But you mentioned earlier to me offside that you were just going to read. Are you going to read Dar's list just top to bottom?
Yeah. I'll read it from 11 up.
Okay, so you do that with Dar. I will do the same with Dr. Catherine.
Okay.
Cool. And then after we're done Dar and Dr. Catherine, then the 3 of us will go in our rounds.
Sure.
Okay. I feel comfortable starting early. We've got 6 people watching now and 1 like.
We're 5 minutes to 7, so
yeah. Let's start. Okay, so let me introduce everybody. We have Monsieur Livre on my right-hand side of the screen, and he, otherwise known as Mr. Books, otherwise known as Aaron from the Keeps Me Alive website. And this is technically his first appearance, because last week we did a test stream where he was on for a whole hour. That doesn't count because it was just because I called it a test stream. Yes. But we had an awesome conversation last week that that is actually available on YouTube that you can watch. Mm-hmm. And so he is here with us tonight for the first official time. And then, of course, we all know Super Deeks below, all the way from Thunder Bay, Ontario, Canada.
T-Bay, baby. T-Bay.
And tonight's theme, we are doing what we call the Nigel Tufnell Top 10, which, if you know anything about Nigel Tufnell, it actually goes up to 11. So we've all got 11 albums. We're going to count them down. We got James Kalin. Top 11 Canadian albums are all by Prozac, says James Kalin.
Mr. J.
John Hawksley. Interesting.
Sorry, what was that, Aaron?
I said not Hawksley Workman. That's surprising.
Maybe he will change his mind as we go. It could be a long show. We've never done 3 people before, so I think we should try to be succinct in our comments.
Sure.
But let's start with the top 11 Canadian albums of all time with Mr. Dar Erickson.
Dar. Okay, so first of all, I gotta plug out something. We also have another viewer I know who's watching for sure. His name's Max. He's down in Nashville.
On the way, is Max watching?
Max is watching.
Music City.
He does a blog on WordPress called Power Pop, and you can find him at powerpop.blog. He reviews 45s. Great site. Check him out. And he's been watching our last 3-4 streams. So props to him. The other one I got to hand out props to is our good friend Frank Lafredo, who retweeted your tweet this morning on Twitter.
Sweet.
One tweet that I got from you, and he retweeted it, and he's got the Crocs documentary. It's going to be free online September 10th. So maybe before September 10th, we can maybe see if we could try and perhaps maybe get Frank on here.
Well, one thing for sure is I don't want to miss that Crocs documentary. I follow Crocs T-Bay on Instagram.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants to catch this documentary, which is basically about a legendary club that looks to me like he has quite a history with punk shows.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks like it's going to be a really cool film. So I'll be promoting that as much as I can.
So I just had to get that out of the way. So here I go with Dar's top 11, starting at number 11.
Let's do it.
Number 11, Bob and Doug McKenzie, Great White North.
Yes. I have the LP of that.
I do too. And CD.
And how about that? Boom, right out of the gate, eh?
Yep. Brilliant.
Yep. Number 10, Honeymoon Suite, Racing After Midnight.
Oh, that's a good one.
That is.
Oh, that takes me back to an Ottawa school trip. I bought the cassette of that in Ottawa.
That's cool, Aaron.
Yeah.
I just want to add that, spoiler alert, Honeymoon Suite didn't make my list, but we're definitely in consideration. So I'm glad that Dar did.
That album was in consideration for myself as well.
Yeah, cool.
Number 9, Jeff Healey, Hell to Pay.
Good. Good. Glad.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great record. Number 8, Aaron, you will like this one. The Trues, Den of Thieves.
Yes.
Rob Daniels is asking a question. He's asking where in Ottawa?
Oh God, I don't know. I was 13 or 12 whenever we went on that school trip to Ottawa.
There you go, Rob.
The only thing I remember about it was a 2-for deal. So me and my buddy Michael both bought the same tape. And I remember we were young enough so that we could get the 2-for-1 deal, but we were young enough to not know whether we could buy the same tape or whether we had to get 2 different tapes. So we asked.
Of course. That's what polite kids did.
Yeah.
Like good.
Okay, Deke.
Now they'll just steal it. Anyway.
Or pay $150 for it on eBay because it's a tape.
Yeah.
No kidding. Okay, so number 7, the debut album from Colin James, the self-titled.
Yes.
Ooh, good shout.
Yes.
Voodoo Thang. Yeah.
Yes, that was before Just Came Back.
Yeah. That album before.
With 5 years, 5 years gone.
5 years gone.
And Voodoo Thang, yeah. And Why July, all that stuff was on. That was a pretty mega record for 88, boy. Cool.
Yeah.
Number 6, Big Sugar with Heated.
Nice. Good. We were talking about that offside.
Big Sugar was in my consideration, but I would have given the first album. The very, very first one with the blue cover.
Oh, the self-titled.
The self-titled, yep. That one blows me away every time.
Yeah.
Rob Daniels is commenting, Voodoo Thang!
Yeah.
How can you not love the Voodoo Thang?
Yeah.
Now here's one I've never heard, and that's pretty cool with Dar. This is what impacted him. Number 5.
Sorry. Dr. Catherine is watching, and the Colin James songs is 5 Long Years.
Thank you. 5 years.
And Kevin Semister is watching as well. So hello, Kevin.
Number 5 is Matt Mays and El Torpedo.
Love that guy.
Yeah.
Good shout.
Yeah, no kidding. So a little outside the box for me on that one. You know, I've heard of it, but I've never heard it. So good on Dar. You discovered that one.
Yeah.
Number 4, Sloan, Navy Blues.
Good. I was happy to see Sloan on this list. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, Bryan Adams, Into the Fire.
Oh,
Yes, Into the Fire. Oh, and Frank
I love
Lafredo.
that album.
Hello, Frank Lafredo.
I can put that on and just on random, and it's all good.
Oh yeah.
Into the Fire. I'm hoping Catherine will leave a comment about Into the Fire because I know that I think her number 1 Bryan Adams, but Catherine, leave a comment, please. Okay, sorry, Deke, keep going.
Do it for your brother. Please leave him a comment.
Yes.
Number 2 is Rush with Moving Pictures.
Wow.
Nice. Well done.
Yep. And his all-time number 1 Canadiana record is Tragically Hip, Day for Night.
Yes.
Fully, completely? Oh, Day for Night. Yeah.
Day for Night.
Yeah. And that's
Now,
Jen and I were discussing.
mine too, or do we talk about that later?
Sorry, what was that, Aaron?
That was mine too. Do we talk about that now or later?
We'll talk about it when you do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I fully approve.
Dr. Catherine,
completely approve.
Yeah.
Dr. Catherine's dropping a spoiler. She's saying it's in her list too, but I haven't actually read her list. I just kind of skimmed it, but it is here. I have it here now.
Cool.
Top 10 Canadian albums by Catherine Ledano, and then I reminded her that we could actually go up to 11.
Yes.
So she had an album that she dropped from the number 10 spot that we are now adding to number 11. Hey, Maxi Axis here. Yes, Max, we are doing all Canadian groups tonight. So Dr. Catherine, her number 11, got to give her a little bit of credit here for having some courage, is Masked by Dr. Catherine Ledano.
Hey, self-plug, nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. I almost put it on my list, and I'm glad that it's here because that means I don't have to put it on my list and try to defend my bias of putting my sister's album. But it is an excellent album. Aaron, have I sent you your copy?
I was waiting for a space to ask if I've heard that one. I don't think I have.
I still have like 2 or 3 sealed copies at my place, so I'll mail you one.
Ooh, yes, please.
Okay,
I can
cool.
send cash monies in replacement.
No. These are for me to give out to people. This is an arrangement I had made with her.
Even better.
Okay, so Catherine's number 10, the second appearance of this group, we have Honeymoon Suite with The Big Prize.
Oh,
The Big Prize.
Just
a lot of people
before
forget the
Racing
middle
After
album.
yeah.
Very good album.
That is the
man.
second album, right?
That was the second album. That was basically
Yes.
to pinpoint their career. That was basically the pinnacle of their popularity.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
They went
when you can come to Thunder Bay in 1986 and sell out our Dumphole Gardens at 5,000 people, you know you're it.
Yeah.
Having said that, when they came here 2 years later on the Racing After Midnight tour, that attendance dropped to half.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, I actually like Racing After Midnight better, but
Right. Yeah, personally speaking, I prefer the more rock sounds of Racing After Midnight. And I remember that came sort of after The Big Prize had that one ballad, If I Could Have Wings, and it was such a huge hit. But it was very pop at a time when rock bands had to kind of like look tougher. So they went with that motorcycle image on Racing After Midnight.
Yeah, but I have to say that Feel It Again was a great track. Even when I hear it, it's still a great track.
So good. So good.
Oh yeah.
Oh my
better
God.
live.
Okay, so Max the Axe just left a comment that apparently Honeymoon Suite tried to pick up his 13-year-old cousin. Okay.
We don't want that.
Yeah.
We're gonna get
Number 9. I like this pick. It's the guy that's in the corner there. It's Tom Cochrane and Red Rider with Victory Day, which of course Victory Day is the album before he went mega.
Yes.
So again, Catherine is paying attention to what she considers to be a pinnacle, not what the charts do.
Was Victory Day Red Rider as well, or no? I don't remember.
Yes, it was when he was billed as Tom Cochrane and Red Rider.
Okay.
He had 2 albums billed like that, self-titled and Victory Day. And Catherine says the song Bad Attitude was on The Big Prize, which is a great song. And Kevin likes my shirt.
Bad Attitude. Yeah.
It was
I got the LP over here.
a great album. A totally great album. I mean, even had your homeboy on there, Mikey Anderson.
Ian Anderson. Yeah.
Oh.
Number 8, Bare Naked Ladies, Gordon. And
Yes.
I was hoping that Bare Naked Ladies were going to be on this list because I've seen them live and they're one of the best bands I've ever seen live, period. James Kalin knows what I'm talking about as well. It's an album with a lot of integrity. it's kind of funny to hear. Like it has a very kind of juvenile over theme, but it's so good. It's so good.
It was on my list, but it actually would have been number 12.
Okay.
It got bumped by something, and I still question it. But anyway, I'm glad it's here.
That album was beyond mega huge in '92. Holy crow! That
Big time.
Total nostalgia.
Music every half hour was rotating.
I was actually watching a live in the studio thing from them around the time that they did that "Lovers in a Dangerous Time" cover, and they were good.
Yeah, it was a good version.
Now, one thing that stood out to me, and this is a sort of an overall '90s observation as well, but here's these guys in the studio, and they're all wearing these goofy shorts, and it's not something we really see today, but in the '90s, it was all about the shorts. James Kalin is adding that Bare Naked Ladies are better with Stephen Page. He's seen them with and without, and he'd rather see with. And Max the Axe says that the Bare Naked Ladies, Smash Mouth, and the like. Oh my God. Shouldn't be allowed in guitar stores. Okay, Max. Okay. Next up, we have Bryan Adams with the aforementioned "Into the Fire." I think the title track on that is one of Brian's best tracks, and I know Catherine agrees with me that the live version from the album, I believe it's from the album Live, 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 is fucking great.
Oh yes.
Number 6.
I was going to say, in fact, I think when I posted about "Into the Fire" recently, I think it was you, Deke, who said about that one on the live album.
That was "Hearts on Fire."
Oh, "Hearts on Fire." Sorry.
Also a great song.
Yeah.
Number 6. I don't know this album, so I hope she drops a comment. The Spoons, Arias and Symphonies. I'm not familiar with that title.
I didn't know they were Canadian. How bad is that?
Oh yeah.
Why did I think they were English?
One of the science teachers at my high school was brothers with the guy from the Spoons. So the Spoons actually played my high school frequently because of that connection.
Nice.
Mr. Ross was there's somebody in the Spoons with the last name of Ross. That's his brother.
Cool.
Number 5 is an album that Deke and I discussed earlier this morning during a test stream, and an album that I played this morning after our test stream, and an album that I might write a review of tomorrow afternoon. Blue Rodeo, Diamond Mine.
Oh.
Nice.
Rob Daniels, do you guys remember the pre-Gordon album that was sold as a cassette? It had a yellow cover, I think.
I have 6 copies.
6! And it's also called the Yellow Tape.
Yeah, I buy them whenever I see them.
Hey, Aaron, next time you're on, maybe if you wouldn't mind just grabbing them, we can show them off for Rob.
You got 2 seconds?
Yeah. Cool. We're gonna look at them. Kevin Semister says that Sarah has a bunch of Spoons records. I understand that Sarah is getting quite a deal buying up old Gowan albums too. And Catherine says that the Spoons has 3 big hits: Nova Heart, Those Old Emotions, and Arias and Symphonies. And unfortunately, I don't know any of those songs. I only really know Romantic Traffic.
Right.
There you go, Rob. Look at that. 6 copies of the Yellow Tape. How do you like that?
Maybe we should have a raffle tonight.
I'm not giving any of them up. For me,
Nope.
this is a rescue mission.
Nice.
This is the Bare Naked Ladies. Like, this has got Fight the Power on it, man.
Yeah, that's never been released on CD as far as I know. Maybe Catherine might know otherwise, but
6 of them.
Wow.
Here's a question for you, Aaron.
Yeah.
Have you played them all to see which one sounds the best?
No, like I said, no, I just I bought this. I think it's one of them anyway.
Oh God, I gotta stop you.
What?
James Kalin. Let's give away all of Aaron's possessions.
You're gonna be here a while. I have some stuff.
James says that Fight the Power may have been on a soundtrack. Oh, Uncle Meat is here. Uncle Meat, hello. He says Old Emotions was on the next album called Talkback. Still talking about the Spoons here. So, okay, let's get back to Aaron.
I wonder which soundtrack that song is on, because I'd love to have a CD copy of it.
Yeah, James, let us know, man.
But yeah, no, I bought the first copy when it was out. We were in high school, and the Bare Naked Ladies were the thing. And this guy everybody called Skippy in the art room used to have one, and we used to listen to it all the time. And So I went and bought my own at Stedman's. So
James wants you to guess which soundtrack. He says it's very obvious.
Nothing with James is obvious.
No.
See, this is my,
You know what? Your friendship is one of those kind of surprising things in my circle of friends because you guys are so opposite in certain ways, like with humor. He is so frivolous with his humor. Like his humor is so off the wall. You know, like the thing about him offering me $7 to eat a worm and a stick.
Right.
You know?
So maybe I'm the straight man.
Yeah, you're the straight man and he's the other one. But he says It's obvious. Do you give up? Do you want to? I want to kind of move along with the lists here.
It's not Brain Candy. Although that one had
that's
Guided by Voices on it.
Brain Candy would have been 95, so far too late. I think far too late.
It would have fit though, Kids in the Hall.
Yeah. Oh, it's on a soundtrack in 1993.
You realize as soon as
it's not obvious
what this is. I'm going to be buying one.
Not obvious. This, right? It's Coneheads.
The Dan Aykroyd movie.
Yeah,
and
it's not obvious. Jane Curtin.
Curtin, thank you.
Michael McKean, I believe, was in that movie, and Brendan Fraser. Okay. No, not Brendan Fraser. I'm getting them mixed up with Airheads.
I had no idea that was on there. You know, and I probably saw that CD go through at work several times, and just went, "Oh yeah, whatever," and didn't pay any attention. So, did Mikey just freeze up again?
Mikey froze.
He's excellent. Now we can talk about him.
He's in shock.
Oh, I'm back. There we go.
Oh, there he is.
Aaron,
we didn't get time.
Aaron.
Yes.
Something interesting. You collect a memory. Coneheads was always on the reservation list at work, and I think it was one of those albums that we always charged $12 for.
Wow.
Was it rare?
I guess you clicked a memory there.
Okay, it's probably because the movie. I don't. Well, I shouldn't even say that. I don't know. Maybe it had other things on it that made it more valuable. I have no idea. I will be.
I'm going to move on to Catherine's next pick, but not before saying what James' next comment is. He's going to pay me $7 to eat one of your copies of the Yellow Tape.
It had to happen.
Number 4, Chantal Kreviazuk, Color, Moving, and Still.
Oh, yes.
Good album.
She's awesome.
Yeah. Married to, still to this day, married to Rain Maida.
Yeah. No, hey. And talk about Canadian music power couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Number 3, I'm glad that this band is on here, and I knew they would be. Glass Tiger. Diamond Sun.
Yes. Oh, Diamond Sun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Deke, we discussed that band last night, didn't we?
Did we?
Yeah, the maiden soccer thing.
Oh, yes, we did.
Or was that this morning? I can't remember, man.
That was last night.
We chatted last night. We chatted this morning as well.
Yeah.
Number 2.
I was fortunate to see the Diamond Sun tour in your town, Mike, at the Center in the Square.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. I believe what's their name? Northern Pikes opened.
Sure. I don't remember.
I think so.
We were there for them. I don't remember who opened.
Okay. Catherine might. She wasn't there, but I remember they were touring with Northern Pikes. She will know these facts.
Well, that's one of my wife's favorite bands. Anyway.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Number 2 is Sarah Harmer with You Were Here.
You Were Here. Yep. I was going to say.
Excellent pick. Yep. And number 1 from Dr. Catherine is a band that I didn't even consider, that I often forget is Canadian at all. The Arcade Fire. The Suburbs.
I give full marks to that. It's a band I never got into.
Me neither, but I
can't get to them. They don't go. They sort of go in and then back out. Like they don't hit me some reason. I don't know.
Well, my brother loves that band. He went to Minneapolis to see him live, and he said it was a phenomenal live show. But with Aaron, I just good on them. That's what
Aren't they a really big collective, like 10 or 12 people or something? There's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. I think there's like a core 1 or 2 people, and then a rotating massive collective of different instrumentation, and and I don't think the band is necessarily the same from one tour to the next. Even in terms of like what instruments you might see, but
kind of like Broken Social.
They're an interesting concept. I remember that album that album Funeral was big when I worked at the record store. And Max the Axe is very happy that Sarah Harmer was on Catherine's list. So that's pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's Catherine's list.
Good. The Basement Apartment. That's a good song.
So Aaron, the way we do this from this point forward is we go in rounds, starting with number 11.
Yep.
And I think maybe just for simplicity's sake, we may as well go clockwise in the order that we appear on the screen, which is me, you, Deke.
Sure.
Okay. And Catherine is thanking Max the Axe for the compliment. Sarah Harmer is one of Catherine's favorites of all time.
Yes.
So I will start with my number 11. And I will confess that a lot of this list kind of solidified after speaking with Deke this morning. So it might be slightly tainted by that conversation. But here we go.
It's all your fault, Deke.
It is.
This isn't Canadian, Mike.
Well, sorry?
This isn't Canadian.
Well, it's not Kiss, but you're in the right section of the alphabet. I picked Vices by Kick-Axe.
Nice.
Heavy Metal Shuffle.
Yeah, Heavy Metal Shuffle. I almost put Welcome to the Club because I really love that album, but I put Vices because mainly On the Road to Rock was such an important album for song for me growing up.
Yeah.
So number 11, Kick-Axe, Vices.
Great.
On to you, Monsieur Livre.
I have 2 copies of Vices on vinyl.
Nice.
Because why would you only have one? Fun story about that. My mother, I was listening. I remember we had a front porch and it's summertime and I was sitting out there and I had my little Ghetto Blaster boombox thing and I had that tape playing and my mother walked by and then she stopped and she came back and she said, "What the hell are you listening to?"
The Heavy Metal Shuffle.
Like, because it wasn't, it wasn't Gowan or Platinum Blonde or something. It was Kick-Axe and it was very different. So mine, I didn't number things. I just sort of vomited and then I sort of edited from there. But I want everyone to know, and I'm going to show this. I want everyone to know I did my due diligence. Those are all the Canadian bands that I own.
Handwritten.
Handwritten. I stood in front of my collection and I wrote everything down. And then I picked from here which bands and albums I thought. So just so everyone knows, I did the homework.
Wow. I've never seen anything like that before with one of these lists, Deke. Ever.
I'm out.
Well, I wanted to get it right because this, I think, is important because there are so many Canadian bands and I felt so bad leaving so many of them out.
I get you
really
on that.
Wanted to be sure.
So just to be clear, you're going to be reading 11, but they're not in any particular order.
Not in any particular order because I can't do that. I would have been here till Christmas trying to put them in some kind of order. So,
well, as we discussed earlier, these lists got to be fun or there's no point doing them at all. So that's that's your fucking list, man. That's the way we're doing it.
Okay.
That's the way we're doing it.
The first one I'm going to mention is one that's already been mentioned, and that is the Tragically Hip, Day for Night.
Yeah.
Now, I have some reasons for that. It was really hard to choose because it's kind of like picking between your children. You just shouldn't do that. And all of the Hip albums to me are like since 1989 or 90. All of the Hip albums, I've been a first day buyer, and you know what I mean? Like they're just part of the fabric for me.
Yeah.
So I don't pick the albums; they're a big happy pile.
Yeah.
So what I did with the Hip was I asked myself if I was going to walk over to my under T in my alphabetized collection, and I was going to grab a Tragically Hip album today, which one would I grab? And it honestly was Day for Night.
Nice.
I think that album shows how fearless they were, because you got to remember, Fully Completely was so huge.
Yeah.
And not to knock Up to Here or Road Apples, but Fully Completely brought on a whole new ballgame. It was everywhere, and it brought in a whole bunch of people. And to their credit, most of them have stayed, which is awesome. But
it was dark. It was dark sounding. Dark. It was a dark record.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like they weren't trying
disasters.
to recreate Fully Completely. They were making another whole record, and it just there's nothing even close to mediocre on it. I love it.
Yeah, it's a movie.
Aaron, I was working at the record store, just starting at the record store when that album was released on a Saturday, I believe. I believe it was released on a Saturday, and we sold out immediately. But I also remember a lot of fans were. I mean, I'm not saying that they didn't like it. That they were surprised by it because it's so different from Fully Completely and especially from Road Apples.
Yeah.
I lined up at midnight at Dr. Disc in Windsor so I could buy that.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You know what? They did that to Fully Completely and Day for Night and Trouble in the Hen House. They opened up the stores at midnight.
Yep.
And that's where me and T-Bone went. And yeah, you go into the CD store at midnight, you buy the Tragically Hip. You're not going to just leave with the hip. You start looking at other stuff.
Correct.
Yeah, it's like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Well, if my memory is correct, people were just sort of waiting in line, getting in the door, going around the racks, getting up to the counter. They were taking the CDs out of the boxes, how many copies you wanted. Yeah. You paid for it, and people were leaving, and then more people were coming. It was just a circle. I don't think anyone else was shopping. They were just there for the hip.
Yeah.
That sounds like, well, it's something you don't see anymore, obviously, but it does sound like certain things that happened. Dr. Catherine says, I can hear my dogs on your live stream. I was wondering if anybody could hear the Schnauzer Patrol.
I thought it was behind me. We've got a couple of really
nope. Those are that's the Schnauzer Patrol.
Well, then that's allowed.
But yeah, anyway, I remember things like that happening with like when Metallica was released. It was like an assembly line. Here's your Metallica. Here's your Metallica. Here's your Metallica. But let's move on to Super Deeks number 11.
Yes.
Okay, so what I decided to do, and Mikey, I think I told you this last week, and I was going to do it with a bit of a twist because when we're sending out that original email between the three of us.
Yeah.
Aaron said something like, I think I need to pick 111 albums.
Yeah. Which he did. You saw the list.
And then, which he did. So, ding, ding, off went the bells. So what I decided to do, since I got my record collection now up to about 400, I decided to pick 11 Canadian albums that I have in my collection. And that kind of buys me an out of putting some stuff that I probably would have to debate and drive myself crazy at putting on.
Yeah.
I have some Canadian stuff I didn't leave out. So here we go. You guys ready for this?
Absolutely. Do it.
11, Santers.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. So
nice.
Canadian power trio from Toronto.
Nice.
This cover in Winnipeg back in the summer of 1981 when I was 14. And when you walk into a record store and you see that pose.
Yeah. You know what you're getting.
The album, the song, Shot Down in Flames. I don't know if you guys can see it.
I know that.
It says, dedicated to Bon Scott. Easy sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's number 11.
Nice.
Well done. It's show and tell with Deke.
So I will just
everything here, man.
I will just add, since there's certain people out there who can only name Rush as a Canadian band, that Rick Santers might be best known as the fourth guy from Triumph. When they performed live and they needed a backup singer guitar player, Rick Santers was the man. And I believe there's probably videos of Triumph with Rick Santers on YouTube, I would imagine.
He's on that the Halifax one, Night of Triumph.
Gotcha. Cool.
And the other thing is Rick Emmett produced the third Santers album, Guitar Alley.
Cool.
So there you go. There's the connection.
What did I read about Rick Emmett? He's got something. They're working on something. You know what? I'm just going to move on with my next pick rather than that. My next pick happens to be Triumph.
That's awesome.
And Max the Axe has seen Santers many times.
Nice. Yeah.
This is I discussed these lists earlier with Uncle Meat, and he was not happy with my decision to allow live albums. But as we go down my list, I will defend more than one live album. My Triumph album is Stages. And as I went through my Triumph collection, and I played Never Surrender just this morning, I could not find anything that was as much of a pure Triumph statement as Stages.
Mm-hmm.
Stages is everything. It's the sum total of Triumph. Yes, I get Meat was saying, well, a live album's a glorified greatest hits. I get that. I struggled with this decision to allow live albums, but fuck, man, it's my list. I'm going to make the fucking rules. So I will defend Stages by saying it is the most definitive of all the Triumph albums. Deke, I'd like your opinion on that.
Well, you did have it in when we did the top 11 live album list.
I sure did. More than one of us did.
So that is an impact record for you. So you know what? I totally see that in there. Nothing wrong with it. It kind of came at a time that a lot of it kind of got overshadowed by the other live albums in '85, like Scorpions, Maiden. You know, like the diehards bought it. Let's put it that way. So
yeah,
that's a good representation. I bought it off iTunes a long time ago, and Rock and Roll Machine is ferocious on there, man.
Oh, yes,
yeah.
Everything is.
When Rick Emmett just blows right into that guitar solo.
Oh yeah,
that's guitar god status right there, man.
Eric Litwiller's comments. Greatest hits albums, of course, are everything. I think what he's saying is their greatest hits albums are, they do not apply for what we're doing tonight. We had to have some kind of standards. Rob Daniels mentions that Stages was his #1 live album when we did that list thing a few weeks ago. Mike Kudis just name dropped Gatto. And Eric Uncle Meat is asking if Neil Young Decade would be allowed. I'm trying to think of Decade. I think it's just a straight greatest hits, isn't it?
I think it's a 2 CD, and I think it is greatest hits.
So I would say, and I thought about Gord's Gold, because Gord's Gold is technically, in a way, it's a studio album because you re-recorded everything. And I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I decided to exclude Gord's Gold. So, I'm not going to say that these rules are very hard and firm. Make your joke there, Aaron.
That's what he said.
Right. But I felt like there was a line between Gord's Gold and Triumph Stages that I needed to draw. And as we'll go through, I might have more live albums. But Aaron, you go ahead with your number 10.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was going to say too.
Yeah.
Remind me at the end. I have something cool to show you. If I think it's just right there. But somebody mentioned Gatto, and I have something cool here I could show you.
Oh, right on. Yeah, Maxi Axe mentioned Gatto.
Actually, I'll do my turn, and I've got the volume on, so I'll hear Deke do it. But I'll run.
Yeah, go.
Okay, so my turn here. The next one will surprise no one. It is the Mighty Sloan. Which one did Aaron pick?
Okay,
because not unlike the Tragically Hip, they're all good.
May I guess?
Yes.
One chord to another.
No.
Okay.
Is it my turn?
Guess, Deke?
Let's go with the debut.
Smeared?
Yeah.
No.
Then I'm going to say Twice Removed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because I got dragged to a Sloan concert in 1993 or 4 at the Capitol Theater in Windsor, and it was the Twice Removed tour, and I didn't know who they were. But my friend Leslie, the condom queen, said that, I start these stories and I realize you don't know these people. I lived in residence at university, and she was the residence safe sex representative. So she wrote away to Durex or whatever the condom company was and said, "Hey, I'm the representative. I live in this building. There's like 400 people in this building." They sent her a box of condoms. Like I'm talking like a crate of condoms. And she had a fish tank in her dorm room full of condoms. And her door was always open, and then no judgment. If you needed one, just go get one. She had them, right? So anyway, she was So she dragged me. You got to come to this show. And I'm like, okay, I don't care. So I went along, and I had no idea who they were, and they just blew me away. I had no expectations. It was Local Rabbits.
I remember them.
And Sloan. And holy man, was it ever. And it also was at a time when I was sort of genre changing myself. And you get into university and you start hearing other things and other people's collections, and like Tea Party was happening, and Beck's Loser was on the radio, and I'm like, I'm hearing all of these other things, and Sloan just smacked me, and I've been a fan ever since. That was an awesome show. And then this is a fun story. I met Patrick in Meaford. I saw them in Meaford, and I got to meet. Well, I met Chris before with James. But in Meaford, I got to meet Chris again, and I also met Patrick for the first time. And I told him that show in Windsor was my first Sloan experience of 93, 94, whenever that was, they were touring Twice Removed. And he said, oh my God, that is so long ago. I said, I felt so bad. I didn't want to make him feel old.
That's funny.
But it really was. So I picked Twice Removed because I know every song inside and out. I think I've learned most of them to plunk away on the guitar, and I love it.
Snowsuit sound is amazing.
Yeah, right.
Maxie Axe is commenting that Sloan have a double live album. Well, Maxie, we might get there. We might get there later on, Maxie. We'll see. We'll see.
I was wondering if you were going to start this off with guesses as to what might be on somebody's list, and that was what I was going to guess for you, Mike.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know, Aaron. I don't know. I'm making this up as I go, maybe. Who knows?
And anybody who's wondering, this is decaf green tea, so it's not anything.
I'm still drinking my mango stuff. I want to tell one Sloan story before we go to Deke. Sure. A guy that I used to work with at the record store, Neil, bass player / singer / frontman, went to see Sloan at a local club. Can't remember which one, but during Underwhelmed, when Chris Murphy passes the bass to somebody in the audience so that he can just be the frontman.
Yeah.
I guess Chris Murphy passed the bass to some girl who couldn't play bass at all. And Neil is sitting there watching this from the front of the stage, being like, "This is bullshit. She can't even play bass." Jumped up on stage, probably jumped up on stage, grabbed her bass, and started like giving her on the bass. And apparently Murphy was not impressed at all that this guy's upstaging him. This guy's up on stage doing all this fucking bass stuff, and Murphy was not impressed. It's okay. So Super Deeks, you go.
Yeah.
All right. So
I'm gonna get the Gatto thing. I'll be back.
My number 10 is a band that I've been listening to since 1981 that I finally had the opportunity to go see at Crocs last year when Frank brought them to town. And that is...
Oh, yeah!
Teenage Head with...
oh, yes!
I may or may not know somebody who may have played with Teenage Head that's watching tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, I know there's a few out there who watch. I seen somebody's Facebook pic with the Teenage Head logo as a backdrop.
Yeah, that was Mr. Meat.
That's Mr. Meat, but yeah.
This Ontario Place concert.
This is such a great, iconic album. I mean, it's basically my first foray into power punk. I mean, Frankie Venom.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Rest in peace, man. But, like all those guys, Steve Mahone, Gord Lewis, and Nick Stiplitz on the drums. They carved their own niche. I mean, it's crazy, that record. It took 25 years to go gold in Canada.
Wow.
But it did go gold. Yeah. So,
didn't they re-release that stuff in the last few years?
It's gone on iTunes, and they've re-released, I think it was the Tornado EP and stuff. But you know what? So cool that like Frank, when he brought him to Crocs, obviously Frankie's not with them anymore, but they had Dave Rave, who played rhythm guitar with them in the 80s. He shifted over to straight lead vocals. So to me, it was basically as authentic as a band without its original lead singer can be, because the guy just shifted over and became the lead singer. And it was so good. They hit the stage at midnight and they just belted out like 30 songs in about 90 minutes, and so good. And like Frank enjoyed it, man. I don't see that guy too much, but he was filming them off his phone.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's an impact show for a lot of us that actually went to see it, and such a great band. So yeah, that's my number 10 pick.
Nice.
Cool. I just thought I would say something real quick. Just because, we don't have much in the way of stationery up here at the lake. I'd like to thank Remax representative Cindy Cody for this notepad. And my number 9 pick.
How much were you paid for that plug?
Nothing at all. I just thought, hey, why not? Why not? People are seeing me holding this weird thing in my hands.
Hey, Mike, can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Frank just said Dave Rave I enjoyed more than Venom. Rest in peace.
Wow.
That's Frank, who booked Teenage Head back in the early 90s. We got to get Frank on here because he has a great Frankie Venom story. Oh,
maybe when the Crocs movie is out, Frank would be gracious enough to grant us an interview, because that would be awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can talk all the time about Gord Downey making grilled cheese.
I think Rob Daniels knows Cindy Cody because he just dropped a comment, Cindy. So maybe he knows her. I'd like to hear that story. My number 9. I was hemming and hawing over this, but 80s Metal Man talked me into this. He's got 2 favorite Canadian artists, 80s Metal Man.
Yep.
Lee Aaron and the Killer Dwarfs. And I didn't want to let him down again because I kept letting him down when I did my Canada Day music video posts. I didn't have any Lee Aaron and no Killer Dwarfs. So for 80s Metal Man, I have Dirty Weapons by the Killer Dwarfs, which is my favorite Killer Dwarfs album. It's actually a really, really awesome album. Solid from start to finish. Not a weak track in the bunch. It has 2 songs that I think are standouts, which are the ballad Doesn't Matter. It doesn't matter at all who you are or where you're going to. Great song. And side 2, I believe, started off with a song called Out of My Way, I'm Coming Through. Just brilliant, just headbanging song. Robert Daniels clarifies that he doesn't know Cindy. He just was really excited when I showed the card. And Uncle Meat is commenting, Santers and Teenage Head, Deke likes to rock.
Yes.
I will move it on to Aaron with your I guess 3rd record.
Yes. Well, before I do that,
oh yeah, and your Gato. Yeah.
And I have this book here.
Ooh.
That I found at work, and nobody I think even knew who it was. I haven't read it yet.
I've never seen it.
It should shock everyone because I am Mr. Leave.
Yeah.
But what's also kind of neat about this, it's made out to someone else, but it is signed
by Greg Godovitz.
Yeah.
Cool.
So somebody met him and then decided they didn't need the book anymore. So this would make Bop and Brian maybe drool a little bit. But yeah, so my next pick is a little bit controversial, I think. Only because this could spark endless debate, but I had to choose. So my next one is the band, the Brown Album. There, I said it. Because, oh God, did I want to say Big Pink. Okay. But I went with the Brown Album. It really doesn't matter. To me, they're interchangeable. I think I would maybe listen to the Brown Album more, but that's just today. Ask me tomorrow and it would be Big Pink. So, but those guys, to me, has something elemental. It's like in the soil. It's in the blood or something. I mean, the word genius gets thrown around a lot, but
yeah,
it may be inappropriately. But with those guys,
no, not with those guys. That's appropriate.
It applies. Oh my God!
Just want to read some comments here. Sure. Harrison Kopp just showed up all the way from Australia, and on cue said, "Did someone say controversy?"
Yes, I did.
Max the Axe is commenting that the best song by Killer Dwarfs is "Dirty Weapons." And this is funny because anybody who's actually seen Max in person knows he's not the tallest guy in the world. I might actually be taller than him, and I'm not very tall at all. But he's had his picture taken with the Killer Dwarfs, and he's one of the tallest.
Cool. Cool to get to meet them. That's neat.
Yeah,
hey,
very.
Aaron, have you seen the documentary on the band called When We Were Brothers? It just came out maybe earlier this year or...
I was unaware that existed.
Yeah, it's very well done. It has.
I will want to see that.
It's basically Robbie Robertson telling the story because basically the other guys are basically.
Well, now that in itself is a little bit of controversy because there was that whole thing with him.
Well, it is. They don't really get it. They just talk about their recording, their living.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that one of the guys got all looped up and almost killed Robbie Robertson's wife in a car wreck on the way late night back to the studio. But yeah.
we have a couple of books here that I've read. This Wheel's on Fire, and the other one was called Across the Great Divide. All very good. All the Ronnie Hawkins stuff and Bob Dylan and
When We Were Brothers. But it just came out this year, and you know what? It's worth watching. I'm not a huge knowledge guy on the band, but it was like, wow, like you see them from the outside, and but on the inside, these guys were like, they were doing like smack and everything else, and it was like, oh, these guys.
It was serious business
and hardcore, and
yeah,
they were. Guys, I gotta read some comments here. They're just rolling in.
Cool.
apparently Max the Axe has interviewed Robbie Robertson. Says it was his first interview and he loves to talk. That's cool. Uncle Meat says Brown album, awesome. Glad you didn't take the easy route of The Last Waltz. Kevin Semister.
I have that here too.
Yeah. Well, of course you do.
Three LPs.
Of course you do. Kevin Semister says that he would take the Brown album over the Big Pink.
Okay.
Dar says that the doc about the band.
Sorry, that's Darren Gower. He's actually Max from Nashville.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, so Max, who is not Dar, says that the documentary about the band is great.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it on Netflix?
I don't think so.
We just pulled it off our stream box and
okay,
watching it. Yeah.
I'll see if I can find it because I don't have TV. I just have Netflix, so I'll have to see if I can find it somewhere.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Harrison Kopp says that Status Electric by Max the Axe is the only Canadian album he's heard all the way through. So he would put that one down 11 times on his list, which is good. Mm-hmm. And Uncle Meat says regarding the band, good movie, but way too slanted towards Robertson. Needed some counterpoint. Otherwise, a fun watch.
Okay.
And now I've lost track of where we are, but I think we're on to Deke now.
It's Deke's turn.
Okay.
This one I was already picked by Mikey, and we're going with.
Yeah.
I feel like I got to get mine. No, I won't get mine.
Now this record. I know, Mikey, we were talking about Music Express magazine last night.
Yeah.
And it was a great magazine because they featured Canadian acts and they would feature the ads from Canadian acts.
Yeah.
And along with international stuff. But a lot of my stuff that I picked up on music back then was through Music Express. And this was definitely one of them. I mean, George Christian, what a set of pipes.
What a voice. What a voice.
When he launches into that first yell and heavy metal shuffle, like 10 seconds in, that has to be one of the great ones in the 80s, man. Such a great record. And I mean, the first two, probably if I had the second one on vinyl, I probably, that would have been a toss up. But Vices, you can't go wrong. I always like the sound of that record. It still sounds good today. The songs, for the most part, are, they didn't really do. They really avoided the cheese, even in their lyrical stuff, like, good time hard rock, so yeah, that's
called Saskatchewan boys, weren't they?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So, good stuff. And they were the first band ever to play our auditorium here.
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah.
I'm just curious here. Maybe you could do something on the side here and just kind of mentally, see if we're hitting all the major regions of Canada, because obviously Sloan covers the East. We've now hit Saskatchewan with Kick-Axe. I'm just kind of curious. Maybe I'd like to go coast to coast, but it's all up to the list. Yeah. Harrison Kopp says that he's only heard one Australian studio album all the way through, but most of his stuff is British. Fair point. I'm going to move on with my number 8. I'm going to add at this point that I had a one album per band rule when I made my list. If I didn't do that, I might have ended up with a couple Rush albums or a couple Hip albums. So my Hip album that I chose, I just went with a personal favorite, and I really like In Violet Light from the later era, from the early 2000s. It's a great album. Yeah. Thanks, Deke.
Didn't see that one coming for a Hip album, so good on you, pal.
Thanks, man. It's just a personal favorite is all.
Hey, that's what lists are about, man.
Yeah.
They are all a big happy pile, and there are so many good songs on that album.
Yeah,
and
there are.
Sound and it's
got a good atmosphere, that album.
Yes.
Nice. What year did that one come out in?
I think in 2003.
Yeah.
Maybe 2002.
Was
somewhere
that
in there? Yeah.
Music at Work on it?
No, that's a different album. That was the album before.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Music at Work came between Phantom Power and In Violet Light.
Yes, it did. Mm-hmm. We saw that tour.
Phantom Power or
Music at Work.
Phantom Power is another album that could have made my list too, because I like that album a lot, and it's got a great album cover.
If I had that on vinyl, that would have been one for sure for consideration.
Yep.
Easy.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to move on. I'm going to let Aaron go.
Oh, okay. My next one. It's Rush. It's Rush. Do you want to guess, or should I just tell you?
We'll each take one guess.
Well,
Okay.
moving pictures has already been said. I'm curious if you went with the big one, moving pictures. No, okay. That was my guess.
That was in consideration.
I'm going to go old school. I'm going to say Hemispheres.
Also an excellent album, but no, it's 2112.
My second choice.
And I'll tell you why. Because I am sort of unabashedly a science fiction nerd. And the story and the lyrics in there, not to mention the pairing with the epic music and everything else to it. Yeah. But just the way that concept hit me, I just love it. So yeah, I picked 2112 just because, and there's other songs on there too, but just that story arc and the music together, it's
Uncle Meat has a comment here, Aaron. I'm directing it towards you because you might be his only hope here. But as we're going down here, he's becoming a little concerned. And I really hope whale music is on somebody's goddamn list, he says. So without spoiling, I just wanted to throw that at you.
Okay. I got to say, Rheostatics were like this close to my list. And I only left them off.
Damn.
Because there was something else that came up. And it was as I was going through the list and I realized I'd left somebody off and I went, oh God, who has to go? And it was the Rheostatics. So all apologies to Martin and Dave and all the guys. I really wanted Rheostatics on there. It wouldn't have been whale music maybe, but I have it here. I have all their albums. So
of course you do.
Well, I mean, yes, of course.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Deke.
You guys ready?
Yeah, do it, Deke.
Okay, I'm going to show you the record.
Yep.
And then I'm going to tell you a little story.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah!
Felix.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
So Mike, for all the viewers, Mike knows this one.
Oh yeah.
The story
one of my first albums ever. One of my first ever.
So the story goes, I was 8 years ago now. And some people probably heard this, and I'm going to tell it again. I was Googling Helix, came across Mikey's site. He had an interview with Brian Vollmer, and I thought, no way, I'll read it. So I read it, and then I started cruising around his site, and I'm going, this guy's a freak, man. He's reviewed like 100 Kiss albums. So then my first initiation into the world of blogs, and I went through, and I thought, this guy's an actual fan. Yeah. So from there, it was Helix. But back to the Razor's Edge, that was my connection with Mikey. But back to the Razor's Edge, we were supposed to get back in '85 the Triumph Helix tour in Thunder Bay. Triumph kept trucking through because there was a hockey game that was attended by probably 200 people at the Gardens. So they wouldn't move the hockey date. So Triumph just drove right through. Helix stopped and played our university. They didn't even play. They played in it's called the Agora, and it's just it's like sunken into the ground. And it's like a study session, but they cleared out all the tables. They packed it with like 500 people, and they were plugging this album. And me and T-Bone were about maybe 10 feet from the stage. And I'll never forget, there was a stack of speakers on the side of the stage. And that old goat Vollmer climbed up it, and he just hailed right off and did the old came up. And we looked at each other and went, what the fuck? Like, what was that? And they were doing the guitar, the sync, they were doing the moves, and we were like, oh, these guys they're not Canadian. They're shooting, they're going for the international, man.
Yeah. And, they really were. Great. And if I might add something, I believe their manager, William Sipe, was a huge part of that. Like, I believe when he first saw them, he recognized the raw talent, but they hadn't quite gotten everything together yet. So it's like, you guys got to come out strong in black leather. And, and they kind of got that unified image and did a little bit more with their stage show, though Vollmer's always been physical. And I'm going to get to that. Maybe I'll get to that a little bit later. It might relate to one of my albums, maybe.
But it was amazing that, it was we still, me and Troy T-Bone and Troy and the brothers, listen, we still talk about that show. They came back and we seen them on the Long Way to Heaven when they made it into the Gardens and were selling more seats. But that first time here, because it was unscheduled, and they just showed up and played. So you know what? For that, I gave them respect, because they could have just kept driving through, right?
Uncle Meat drops a point. Whale Music was named by the CBC as the greatest Canadian album of all time, with Moving Pictures second. Mm-hmm. Rob Daniels is surprised that Rush was never approached to do a movie score in the vein of Dune by Toto and Flash Gordon by Queen. Even the Spoons did a soundtrack for Listen to the City. Rob, I will tell you one interesting thing, and this isn't a film score, but in a sense, I think Clockwork Angels can be considered a soundtrack because of that novel. The album really does work as a soundtrack to the novel. Technically, it's a concept album, but I think an argument could be made there for Clockwork Angels actually being a soundtrack to a novel. Mm-hmm. I'll leave that on the table, and I will move on with my number 7, if that's okay with you guys.
You bet.
Bring it.
Out of the box here, I wanted to hit multiple genres, and I figured I might be able to count on my buddy Aaron for maybe hitting some bases like Oscar Peterson, perhaps. We'll see. So I chose for my number 7 from way back in 1955, Glenn Gould, the Goldberg Variations.
That was on my list.
Yeah.
That was on my list.
The original Goldberg Variations, where he performed very fast, very manically. Yes. And he was not satisfied with that recording. And later on, maybe in the 80s, he re-recorded the Goldberg Variations with a much more thoughtful tempo. But I am drawn to the crazy speed that Glenn Gould was known for. So Glenn Gould, 1955 Goldberg Variations, number 7. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I give full credit for that. And
Thank you
having it there means that I didn't have to have it on mine, but it was on there. And here's a fun story. If you put the good headphones on, you can hear him talking to himself.
Yes.
Under his breath. Yeah.
Rob Daniels is giving me props. Thank you, Rob.
Yep. No, that's...
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
On to you, Aaron.
Okay.
Your next album. I guess your 5th.
Yeah. Hey, did you ever sit with the Glenn Gould statue in front of the CBC downtown?
No, I've never have.
They've got him on a bench sitting like this. Like there's a statue of him on a bench, and you can go sit next to Glenn Gould.
Well, anyway, if we ever get back to Toronto, you and I can make a stop there.
that's a hike, but yeah, we can get there.
And my sister's giving me props for my pick too. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I wish I put it on mine. My next one, may he rest in peace, is Leonard Cohen.
Thank you. My mom and I were discussing this last night, and I told her that we could count on Leonard thanks to Aaron.
Yes. Now, I have a long history with this guy going back to when I was in high school. And my dad said, hey, I had this book when I was in high school, or I had to read it at some point or whatever. Here you go. And it's Let Us Compare Mythology. So for me, Leonard Cohen was a poet first.
Yep. Agreed.
Of course, because I'm Monsieur Leave. I read all the books and, Flowers for Hitler and all those books. And when he started making music, of course, I wasn't old enough when this was happening, but to me, it almost was like it was weird because he's the writer dude. What's he doing singing? So I picked Songs of Leonard Cohen, which is his debut.
Nice.
And that's just my pure bias. It's just so good, like Suzanne, and there's just. But what I really like was when you try to compare the music, and I'll be brief, but the poetry and the music together, when you put his words to music, what stands out to me most is that there's still that same amount of care and attention paid to the spirit of the words. Yeah. Right? So the music, like when he's singing the words, it doesn't diminish them. Because he was notoriously hard at making sure every word fit and every word was there for a reason. And to me, it did come across. So I just picked the debut just because, why not? I like that one. So
cool. Mm-hmm. I'm just reading some comments here regarding the Glenn Gould. Rob Daniels thinks that it's possible that recording was on the Voyager Golden Record. I'd like to look that up and see. Cool. Mike Kudis, aka Max the Axe, just name dropped Andre Previn. Yeah. And hey, Tyler is here. My friend Tyler, who is actually a son of a friend who is a son of a friend. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. So great pick, Aaron. I'm glad you picked Leonard. And I guess the only thing that I would like to say is that, if I'm not mistaken, when Dr. Catherine was living in Montreal, Leonard Cohen was living in her neighborhood, and I do believe that she cited him walking home with groceries one day.
Yeah,
so I would like, if that's true, Dr. Catherine, I'd love you to leave a comment.
We lived there for 2 years, and we used to walk through that park yelling his name, but we never heard of him. Hello.
Yeah.
We always looked for him, but we never saw him. He was in LA up a mountain being a Zen monk at the time, I think so. But that one interesting story, Leonard Cohen is my son's first concert.
Oh, wow.
Right.
We went to see Leonard Cohen in Toronto, and my wife was pregnant with our son when we went. And I remember, because she was very visibly pregnant, we were concerned that the volume would be too hard.
Yeah.
For the baby, but so that he doesn't remember it, but that was his first show.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right,
cool.
let's move on. Go, Deke. Let's rock, man.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, you want rock? You're getting rock now. So
I like to rock.
they could have been on my list too, actually. So band I discovered in 1982, stuck out 3 records. Finally got to go see them.
I know who.
Finally got to go see them when they came to Thunder Bay last year, and that is. You guys see it?
Coney Hatch.
It's autographed.
Yeah, sure. Fanboy, and this album here, Description, could have went with the debut with Monkey Bars and Devil's Deck, but this is the 3rd one they put out just before they lost their American record deal. But I tell you, like, when I heard them play, they played about half the 3rd album live when I seen them, and those songs just still sound so good, and they just play such at a high level. I mean, it was such a fanboy moment to meet Carl Dixon and Andy Curran, and of course Sean Kelly's playing guitar with him, and he's a great.
Love Sean Kelly. He's a super guy.
And ironically enough, Dave Ketchum, their drummer, actually lives in Thunder Bay. Signed my records because Carl got them signed for me. And he's the only guy I didn't meet that night. A guy from Thunder Bay.
I'm gonna read a meat comment here. Some very inspired picks here, and I promise this is the last time I do this, but I honestly believe that Neil Young Harvest needs to be on someone's list. For people in our age range, it could be the most important and most successful Canadian album of all time. I know, I'll stop, he says. And then Ramiro is saying, yeah. I don't know Ramiro, but I don't know who you are, but thank you for watching. I believe Ramiro left that. It looks like Ramiro left that comment on YouTube. This is the first time I've done a simulcast to YouTube, so I might not know Ramiro on a name basis. I'm going to go next with my number 6, which is an album that we discussed earlier, perhaps a little bit. It's my 2nd live album. We're going with Sloan, 4 Nights at the Palais Royale.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say this is the album that got me into Sloan, because I had some Sloan before this, but this is the album that kind of turned me into a diehard. We were listening to it at the record store, and I'm like, this is awesome. Yeah. I loved the between song banter, especially the part about how Andrew was. How old was he turning? I'm turning 30 over the Sea of Japan or something like that. They were going to be touring, and he was going to be turning 30. Kevin says you'll get lots of crazy from YouTube. Okay, good. Thank you, Kevin.
Awesome.
Tyler says he's ashamed to admit he's only ever listened to 2 Canadian bands seriously, The Hip and an epic metal band called The Ancients. That's cool. Anyway, Sloan, Palais Royale, brilliant double live album. And one of the reasons I really solidly bonded with it is from cover to cover, from beginning to end, it is exactly the length of time that it used to take me to drive from home to the cottage, driveway to driveway. So it was a perfect fit. What can you say? It's a brilliant album. Yes, I guess Uncle Meat would have a point that it is a greatest hits from the first 4 albums, but it has a certain life to it. It's one of those live albums that I think if it had come out in the 70s, like Frampton Comes Alive, for example, it would be considered the definitive Sloan album. It would be considered their Kiss Alive. And even the album cover's very Kiss Alive-y, with the lights in behind them and them doing like the poses. It's very Kiss Alive-y. So that is my number 6. And I will move on to Aaron. Oh,
my quick Sloan story.
Yeah.
I talked to when they were coming through town on their Navy Blues tour. I talked to Chris Murphy at the end of the set, and I asked him. I said, "Look, it's 20 years. Like it's 2019. It's everybody's doing reissues. You guys are doing the reissue tour for Navy Blues.
Yeah.
20 years for the live album." And he goes, "Dude, nobody really listens to live albums anymore." And I'm like, "I do."
And especially that one.
Yeah.
Right. It's a good record. So yeah, who knows?
Oh man.
Yeah.
That is so good.
I tried, man. I tried.
Well, thank you for
Deke.
that.
Because because that album was recorded over 4 nights, that means that if they wanted to, they could release a 8 album or an 8 CD box set with each of the 4 nights.
Yep.
Anyway, Chris Murphy, if you're watching this on YouTube, please and thank you. Okay, let's move on to Aaron.
Yeah. Oh, and just as a quick aside, I don't know if anybody saw the test run that we did with Sarka there. Maybe a few people saw that. I wanted to say that I upgraded the background here so that I have a backline.
Yeah.
Just to make it a little more interesting.
Which I've unfortunately covered up with my graphic, but
that's okay. You can see the amps and this. Mike, do you remember Harlan Ate a Pug?
I do. There's the pug right there.
And this is the mug from Sarka.
Yeah, I recognize that immediately.
Hey, wait, cut face. So anyway, I just want to
I'm empty, but I'm
doing my best to make it to look a little bit nicer for the viewers. So,
well, that's cool.
So my next, here we are. Boy, did I have a tough time with this one because this is another one of those bands that I love unreservedly. Blue Rodeo is here, and it could have been Lost Together. It could have been 5 Days in July, but I went with Casino.
Nice.
Only because I don't know. It's absolutely beautiful. I don't know if I actually have a reason. It's just I love that. I love them all.
Yeah.
That 3 album run especially, but yeah, I just Casino had to be here.
Right.
One of my favorite songs by Blue Rodeo that's on Casino, I believe it's the opening track, is Till I Am Myself Again.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's the album that I have a 2 CD set of it. There's a second disc.
Yes, correct. 100%. I think it's a demo. I think the second disc is the demo versions because Greg Keeler was not happy with that album. He thought it should have been heavier. Yeah. So in the reissue, they give you both. They give you the demos, the original demos, the way that Greg maybe thought the album was supposed to sound, and the album.
Yeah, and that's on me for not remembering what the second disc is. I just remember seeing a 2 CD copy of Casino, and I just bought it. I didn't even ask.
Bear with me. I'm going to look in my folder right now because I happen to have all my music here in my folders.
I've got the CD here, but
well, let's see who can do this faster. Casino demos. Yes, that's the second disc. Is Casino demos.
Oh, you beat me to it. Okay,
beat you to it. Kevin Semister says that you have an excellent podcast voice.
Who does?
Kevin Semister says that you do.
I do.
Yes.
Oh, well, thank you for that. I've always known I had a face for radio.
And apparently, Greg Keeler from Blue Rodeo did the soundtrack to Gunless, which I believe was that Paul Gross movie.
Yeah, we have the DVD of that here. This is the Casino, and it does have 2 discs. Disc 2 Casino demos. Yep.
Excellent album. I'm glad you picked that because it's
$11.99.
That's a sweet deal.
Yeah.
I'm glad you picked that because it's going to give us some contrast to some of the other picks maybe later on. Oh, there's Deke. There he is. All right, Deke, you are up, buddy. Into the Fire again.
So much love for that album here. It's wonderful.
You know what? It was the one to go to would be Reckless. And I think, remember a couple of years ago, Mike, we did that pick your all-time top 20 albums, and you kind of would send it to somebody and they'd pick their top 20 and da-da-da-da-da. And remember went around Facebook? Yeah, I remember sending it to Dar and T-Bone and everybody. And Dar came back with Into the Fire. And I thought, you know what? Because everybody I know had Reckless. Like I had Reckless. I think T-Bone did. Dar had Into the Fire. And after I thought about it, I thought, yeah, you know what, man? Yeah, because at the time when he put that record out, Into the Fire, it sold 3 million, and I remember they considered that a failure.
Yeah, that's how big he was at the time.
Compared to Reckless, it was.
No, yeah. Imagine if any artist sold 3 million records now.
And if I may interject, I believe that personally he overcompensated, and the result was Waking Up the Neighbors.
Yeah, but just this record, I like the sound of it.
Yeah.
I like Scott's guitar playing on it. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like that's his ace in the hole is the guitar player.
I cannot shout that loud enough.
You know?
Keith Scott, I believe, is one of my childhood heroes.
If I remember correctly, the name of his backing band is the Dudes of Leisure.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, he's been with them for a long time, so yeah, all good.
Rob Daniels is saying that he's forgotten just how many good Canadian bands there are. And Rob, we're only halfway through these lists, and we're still not even scratching the surface.
Yeah,
I'm going to go. Sorry.
I don't know if Rob saw that. I have a few.
Yeah, just a few.
This is just bands. This isn't albums. This is just bands.
Yeah, he wasn't kidding. I'm going to go ahead with my number 5. I needed to pick one Gordon Lightfoot, and I decided it couldn't be Gord's Gold. So I defaulted to Summertime Dream, which is probably not necessarily his greatest album, but it's got Edmund Fitzgerald on it. And man, you need that song.
Mm-hmm.
You need that song.
Yeah.
So, and it's also got Race for the Ruins in there. It's not a bad album by any stretch. I think that he does have better stuff from the 60s. But Summertime Dream, I'm going to put it as my number 5 Gordon Lightfoot, simply because Edmund Fitzgerald is such an important song to this nation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's Lake Superior, man.
Yeah,
it's played by the Rheostatics as well.
Yeah, true that. And I may as well say as well, because we talked about this a little bit the other day, I am broadcasting from the shores of Lake Huron. Yeah. Aaron, you are on Georgian Bay. And Deke is on Lake Superior. So we got 3 different bodies of water all represented here today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's all I have to say about Gord.
We're going to come up with a name for that.
The trifecta of the freshwater trifecta.
We'll try to come up with something punny. Leave it with me.
Okay.
H2O.
You're up, buddy.
H3O, I guess. No, that wouldn't be water.
No, that's something else.
Yeah. It's been a long time since chemistry class. So, foreshadowing, there will be more Gordon Lightfoot. But before we get there, my next pick is another East Coast choice.
Cool.
And it had to be here. It absolutely did. I'm going to give a shout to Eric's Trip.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Era. Yeah, I absolutely adore. There's a real push and pull with that one. Because it's got the heavier rock songs, like what is it, Anything You Want or Anytime You Want or whatever that song is. But then there's those really nice, sort of lovely, beautiful, and it's all really lo-fi. It really hits my Guided by Voices fandom right here. You know, when it sounds like it's not 100% perfect. I like that. And I'm just a huge fan of Julie Doiron, so that also gets a shout from me. But yes, and there is a Tragically Hip connection with Eric's Trip, because one of the Hip songs he mentions listening to Love Tara the Day You Were Born. And I'm blanking on what that song was. But anyway, yes, they're mentioned in a Hip song. So
cool.
But yeah, gotta give it up for Eric's Trip. Love that one.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Deaky, you are up with number 5. Aha!
Woohoo!
The box set.
Which I don't have. I'm missing that one.
Well, I got my buddy T-Bone to thank because he bought this at the show for me as a birthday gift.
Wow.
Yeah, you mentioned that before. Yeah, that's a good story.
What are we gonna say about that album, man? It's just it's an all-time great, man. Like
Max the Axe. I don't know if he means that he's interviewed Eric's Trip, because he's saying that he interviewed the Robbie Robertson, but he has an Eric's Trip interview on cassette. It'd be interesting if he was the one that interviewed Eric's Trip. I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
We're at number 4 now.
Yep.
And I needed this band to be represented, and this band was represented earlier by Deke, but I am going back to their debut. I'm going with Helix, Breaking Loose.
Whoa.
Breaking Loose.
Right.
Yeah, I love that debut album. That's the one that has Billy Oxygen on it. I think that when Helix started, I think they had maybe something a little bit more unique than when they kind of streamlined their sound to straight ahead rock.
Yeah.
I like the early Helix when they were just a little bit more diverse, a little bit more spacey. And I think that the drummer, Brian Durner, was absolutely phenomenal. So I'm going with Helix, Breaking Loose with my number 4.
Nice. And none of us are surprised.
Nope.
I knew Helix would be on Mikey's list, but I thought he might go with one of the very first 3. That one, what was it? White lace, black leather,
or No Rest for the Wicked.
I thought it'd be one of those 3. I didn't think you'd go for the later. I know you like it. Like I didn't. Wild in the Streets, I knew you probably wouldn't go for it, just because you're more old school with them.
Yeah.
So, good
That
pick.
one you gave me.
Max the Axe is clarifying. Yeah, he did do that interview with Eric's Trip. So that's cool.
Awesome. With both Rick and Julie. That's cool.
Let's find out. Maxie, leave a comment. Who was it with? Was it both Rick and Julie? Let us know. Aaron, you are next with your number 4.
Oh, wait, are we at 4 already?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not already, man. It's already 8:15.
Oh, well, whatever. It's YouTube. We could be here for hours.
Yeah. Well, as long as my Wi-Fi holds out, that's my only concern. Is that it tends to get worse here at night.
And my bladder.
Well, you can take bathroom breaks. That's fine. Now, I'm going back to Bryan Adams, but I am going to give it to Reckless.
Okay, so it's represented.
Only because. Now, we also have to. This is a nostalgia vote for me, because, Cuts Like a Knife, Reckless, Into the Fire, those 3 albums, I got them all from Columbia Tape House or
nice,
whatever. And I think Reckless was the first one I got, and then I went back and got the first 2.
Yeah.
And then I got Into the Fire. So I sort of jumped around a little bit with him. Mm-hmm. But Reckless was in our formative years. That was what, 84, 85?
84.
Yeah.
84, I was 10 years old.
Wow.
And 85, 11 years old, and I had my first boombox. Actually, ZZ Top Eliminator was the first cassette I ever bought for that boombox with my own money.
Cool.
But Bryan Adams, Reckless, was played so much, and I know every note. I can live and breathe it. And it was that album that made me the world's biggest Keith Scott fan. He is all over that thing. And it's, when you talk about Guitar Heroes, that was right when I was impressionable. And to this day, I love it dearly. So Reckless gets a shout.
Yep.
Nice.
Isn't it crazy that Blue Oyster Cult had a chance to record Run to You, and they didn't want it. They said, we don't want to do it. So Bryan Adams recorded, because if you listen to that opening, Bryan Adams says they nicked that from the Cult tune, Don't Fear the Reaper, kind of that sound.
Totally believe that. I totally believe that. Has that atmosphere.
I can kind of hear that in my head. I'd have to compare them, but
sent that tune to Blue Oyster Cult, and they went, "Nah, we don't want it. We don't like it." And look what happened.
Yep.
Well, it wouldn't have been right with them doing it anyway. So there you go.
Well, we would have got him a hit though.
Max the Axe confirms that he did talk to both in Eric's Trip.
Oh,
and then he mentioned something about turning over his interview tapes to me so I could do a show about him. That might be cool.
Yes,
we'll talk about that another time, Maxie.
Run to You would have been called Run to the Reaper. That's just a joke.
Well, I think you're up next, Deaky.
All right, Mikey, you ready for this one, pal?
Yeah.
You're waiting, man. I'm surprised you haven't dropped one of these yet.
Oh, yes.
Shit, I forgot him. Shit.
What?
I forgot him.
Like completely?
Yeah. I just realized now. Oh my God.
If my pal Darren Grower is watching in Nashville, you got to pull this one up on Spotify, buddy.
Yeah.
And really check it out, because there is some solid. You want to talk about Guitar Hero? Listen to track 8 on side 2. Rumor Has It.
Blazing soloing on that thing.
Diary for Rock and Roll Men. That's a Man. Of course, All We Are. Feel It Burn. Lager and Ale. called off Caroline. And when I started buying records, Mikey, this is the cover I had to get.
Yeah, the blue cover.
I didn't want the other one where he's, I needed this one, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got both. So Aaron, I did forget Kim. And it's funny because I was talking to Deke earlier and I told him, yeah, man, I got Max Webster's Universal Juveniles on my list, and I'm going to dedicate it to John T. Snow because he didn't like that album when we recommended it. Oh, hey, Sebastian Xavier Meunier is online. Hey, hello, Sebastian Xavier Meunier. So, yeah, I forgot Max Webster. Damn, that's my fault.
Slipping.
Hey,
I'm going to move on to my number 3, which is, and Darren, Max says, I had the greatest hits from Kim Mitchell. So he's familiar with some of that.
So he knows it.
He doesn't know Rumor Has It, though.
You need to hear that album, Darren.
Yeah.
Kimbo logo.
My number 3 is the Blue Rodeo representation on my list today. I decided for 5 Days in July.
Yep.
And I don't think anybody else picked that yet, so that's good.
It was under consideration.
Now, it's one of those albums. There's not a bad song on it. Much like Lost Together, there's not a bad song on it.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I like best about 5 Days in July is the fact that I can't believe they recorded that thing in 5 days. Like, it sounds like such a complete labored over album, but yet they did it in 5 days. And I have some
amazing they are.
Scott, some gas here.
Question: Do you get a Neil Young vibe from that album?
Oh yeah. Big time.
I totally pick up Neil Young from that album.
I think that's maybe intentional.
Yeah, probably.
I've always felt that Greg Keeler's solos were evocative of Neil Young.
Oh, totally.
I don't think Greg Keeler would disagree with me on that. It's a brilliant album, and I think for a lot of folks, if you're going to start with one Blue Rodeo album, that's the one. Yeah. There's so many hits on it, too. And Miss Sarah McLachlan shows up at the end for Angels. No. Do I have that wrong? That might be Lost Together. I might have to take back. She appears on a different song. She appears on just give me a second here. 5 Days in July. Know Where You Go, Tell Me Your Dream.
Okay.
Anyway, that's my number 3. Over to the guy, that guy.
Yeah, no, I don't want anyone to get confused by that album you pick, Mike, because the album is called 5 Days in July, but the song is called 5 Days in May.
Correct.
So which one is it?
That confused every customer I ever had, buddy.
Okay, so my next one is a little bit out in the field a little bit, but when I say it, everybody's going to go, oh, yeah, okay. Cowboy Junkies.
Yes,
Trinity Sessions.
Trinity Sessions. Forgot about them. They recorded that in a church.
Yes, with one microphone.
Yeah.
They hung a microphone and the band sat around and they recorded that amazing collection of songs in that church in Toronto.
Yeah.
And oh my God, I can't not listen to that. I have that one, and I also have the Trinity Revisited, where they went back and they did it again.
Yeah.
But they had special guests on the second one with them. But that first one is a bomb. Every track, so good.
Thank you for picking it, man. One. Thank you for picking that. That's great.
Yes.
Well, that's not in my genre. Like so.
No.
Remind me what the singer's name is. I'm drawing a blank.
Timmons.
Margot Timmons. Yeah, fantastic vocalist.
She was around here somewhere, I think.
But they were mega on that record. Oh yeah. Oh, I remember watching them on Saturday Night Live, and then reading in Rolling Stone. Lou Reed saying that was the best version of Sweet Jane he had ever heard.
Oh, that, yes.
I thought, wow.
And Walking After Midnight is on there. They did the Patsy Cline thing. And it's just
Misguided Angel.
Yeah. Misguided Angel. Yep. It's so good. In fact, everybody watching, if you don't have that, you should.
Yeah.
Call it up on your Spotify or whatever and listen to it. It blow your mind.
Okay. So we're going to play, you guys, we've been playing guessing games. So I'm going to pick.
Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm going to pick the
my track.
Tragically Hip.
Okay.
Yeah.
For Deke? Road Apples.
Day for Night. Oh, Road Apples it is?
That guy that I'm pointing up there, Mr.
I
Book.
knew it would be road
Okay,
apples. I knew
nice.
Baby, eat that chicken slow.
Nice.
Yeah,
I love that album.
and I still
Love that album.
I remember still seeing them on the Up to Here tour.
Yep.
And even
wow.
even on that tour, they were playing Three Pistols and Fight already. So they were shaping the songs for the record already a year before the record came out. Like they might even played a few more, but I remember those two tunes.
They were workshopping them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my favorite. You can go with any Hip record basically from the first one up to Phantom Power, but especially those first 4 Hip records. Yeah, for me, they're so good. So I could have picked any one of the first 4 actually, but this one just it came out. It sounds like they recorded it in a garage and they just let it rip. I mean, they were still doing the bar room smoking weed kind of rock, and like it's so good. So
it's really raw. I love it.
Yeah, raw.
It's funny because when the Hip first started, with the first 2 records in particular, people really kind of pegged them with that bar band. But they spread out a bit more on Fully Completely with a bigger production, and then Day for Night they took a left turn, and ever since Day for Night they've been unafraid to go to these quieter places, and Trouble at the Hen House really cemented that. A lot of acoustics, and I remember at the time a lot of fans were it doesn't sound like old Hip, but you don't hear anybody complaining anymore. It was just a temporary thing where people would say, oh, they've mellowed. Nobody cares anymore.
No, it's like when everybody wants Metallica to remake Master of Puppets. It's like, come on. Like the bands have to grow. They have to become other things. Fun story about Road Apples. If I'm ever testing an amp in a guitar store, which has been known to happen, and it has a built-in tremolo on it, long time running is the song that I use to test it.
Nice. Yeah, that's a great.
I can hear it in my head.
Yeah.
And so I approximate with the amp.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I got a comment, Mikey, from Max from Nashville. He sent it to me on the side. He says,
"Oh, okay.
It looks really clear this week, and I like the subtitles."
Yeah. Well, Maxie, hang on.
Subtitles.
Yeah, I guess he means our names.
Yeah.
Oh,
but we can do this if we want. Hang on.
We're going Hollywood now, man.
That's what I had earlier, but here, hang on. I'll change it again. All Canada, all the time. There we go. There. Hope you like that there, Maxie. Yeah. And also Max the Axe is getting a little impatient. He really wants somebody to have Moxie, but I don't know if he's going to get his wish. We're getting
Moxie
close to the end.
I lost.
No, there's a band called Moxie.
Oh,
they're a rock band, and actually Russ Dwarf from Killer Dwarfs, he's doing double duty. He's fronting both the Killer Dwarfs and Moxie right now.
Cool.
A little trivia: Moxie was playing the States, and AC/DC was the first time they ever played North America. Opened for Moxie in Texas, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because they considered that Buzz Sherman for their lead vocalist spot when Bon Scott died.
Oh.
Yeah.
Max says now we're ready for syndication. I'm going to kill the banner because it's a little distracting, but I just wanted to show that for Max there. I'm going to move on to my number 2.
Sure.
Now a bit of a story here because I knew my number 1 and my number 2 this whole time. They were set in stone, but I didn't know what order they were going in. So I've been talking about this a lot with Jen, and she had the opposite order that I'm going for my last 2 albums. We listened to this in the car this afternoon, and it's so good. I just had to make a personal decision to put it at number 2 instead of number 1. And this is the final live album of my list, and it is the definitive album by this particular artist. It is Tom Cochrane. Sorry. I saw the word Tom. It is Stompin' Tom Connors.
Oh, nice.
Live at the Horseshoe. And a number of reasons. A number of reasons why I had to pick this album. First of all, because it's brilliant. But I don't believe you can just pick one Stompin' Tom studio album. I don't believe he's ever written or recorded a studio album that's definitive. Live at the Horseshoe is significant in Canadian history. If anybody who grew up in our age group remembers that they used to play the Stomp and Tom film on TV a lot when I was a kid. And of course, they would always do that close up on his boot.
Of course.
And as I was listening to it in the car today, I was trying to stomp along, but the stomping's a little bit off kilter. Like I was having trouble keeping time with his stomping. It was a little odd. And it's like, this is something that makes the music special. There's no drummer. He doesn't need a drummer. He's just stomping. And he played a Gordon Lightfoot song, Spin Spin. And I just like the way he introduced the song. It's like, this is for a guy by the name of Gordy, and he's from Orillia, Ontario, and I understand he's got a lot of fans down here at the Horseshoe. And I'm going to do a song by Gordy. And that was a cool moment that I really enjoyed. And there's a lot of comedy on the album too. A little bit of joke telling. He did The Green Green Grass of Home, and he did a kind of a comedic version of that where he's talking about cow manure and stuff like that to fertilizing the green grass of home. Mm-hmm. So he did sort of a comedic take on that. And there was another moment where he was telling a joke on the album. He was talking about a song that he wrote about Newfoundland, and somebody says he says that he was playing that wearing his big black cowboy hat and his black jacket, and then somebody in the audience says, "Hey, what's black and blue?" And Stomp and Tom's like, "I don't know." And he's like, "It's gonna be you if you keep on making all those Newfie jokes." So,
dear.
Like it's such a great album. It's just I think I can strongly defend my wish for live albums being on my list with Live at the Horseshoe by Stomp and Tom.
Yeah,
because you find me a Stomp and Tom album that is as definitive as that. And of course, Stomp and Tom, he represents the East Coast, but he represents all of Canada with his lyrics, because his lyrics go coast to coast, even if we didn't go coast to coast tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, I've said a mouthful. I'm going to read a comment by Harrison. Harrison points out that Noddy Holder of Slade was also considered for the AC/DC vocal slot after Bon Scott died, but Noddy turned it down. There you go. Aaron, we are on to you with your second to last album.
Yeah, I want to give you a shout for mentioning Stomp and Tom, true legend. Like, my God, how many times did we hear the hockey song when in high school when the team was headed to the rink for a game, and they would put that over the announcement so the whole school could apparently get excited there was a hockey game happening. So my next one, I'm going to bring up Gordon Lightfoot again. Now, this was down to the wire for me too. And I dismissed Gord's Gold because I in my head I had that as a hits album, so I thought, okay, I won't even go there. But it was gonna be, it isn't, but it was gonna be Don Quixote.
Okay.
Only because, for a couple of reasons here. Alberta Bound is on there. Patriot's Dream is on there, which is a really rare sort of protest song for him. He didn't tend to do that, but it was a real sort of folky sort of approach. But my lovely wife really loves that song called Second Cup of Coffee. So much so that I learned it on the guitar so I could play it for her. The things you do when you're dating, right?
Yeah.
No, it's a good song. It's just unfortunate because it's about a song. It's a song about an ended relationship, and thinking about the lady who got lost along the way. And of course, so you can't really say that's our song because it doesn't fit anything. But it's a good tune. But so Don Quixote was under consideration for those reasons. But I did go with Sit Down, Young Stranger. Now, it's really hard to pick a Gordon Lightfoot album and say that's the one.
Yeah.
But I would say that one largely because of If You Could Read My Mind. I like the strings. I like the way it's put together. I like the way he plays with words there a little bit. Some of it's clunky, but it still works.
Yeah.
And I also have down here, like, it's got me and Bobby McGee, Approaching Lavender's on there.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's somehow, it's really simple. There's a simplicity to it, but that's really powerful. And it's just beautiful with all the strings and everything all over it. So yeah, Sit Down, Young Stranger, I would say.
Well
is a
done.
good one. Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
What year did that album come out in?
Not a clue. 70 something.
There, I'll look it up.
72, I'm going to guess.
I think, back then, it wasn't uncommon for Gordon to release a couple of albums a year.
Yeah.
Sit Down, Young Stranger is his 6th album, and it was released in 1970. Only one album that year, 69, 70, and 71. Yeah. So there you go.
It's really good.
Mr. Daniels has commented that Patriot's Dream is an awesome song.
Yes, it is. That's why Don Quixote almost got on there, because I love that song.
Yeah. Wow. Rob loves Gordon Lightfoot. We've talked about him before.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Good stuff, man.
I'm losing light a little bit here, but I'm going to continue.
It's okay. Your Golden Girl shirt really brightens you up.
It does. If I was wearing a darker shirt, I would have to make some new arrangements here, but I think I'm golden. You don't hear many people mention Patriot's Dream, says Rob. It's one of my favorites, almost as much as Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Cool. All right, Deke, you're up.
Very powerful song when the I won't give it away.
No.
I knew Allied Forces. I knew it.
Allied Forces.
Yes.
My entry point into Triumph, I think I seen the ad in Circus Magazine back in '81. I mean, what a selling point for a young kid to see a Flying V gold Triumph.
Yeah.
And then you look at three rock dudes on the back. I mean, the last time I think Triumph played Thunder Bay was 1980. And I only know this because I was in grade 8 and a guy in my class went. And he said, "Oh, I went to see Triumph." And I'm like, "Who's Triumph?" And he said, "They're from Toronto." I'm like, "Oh, yeah." I said, "How was the show?" He said, "The lights were so bright."
Yeah, that's what they're known for back then.
Awesome. So then when this record came out, I kind of made the connection. I bought it. So good. I mean, I think their best album. I mean, I could have went with this one, Never Surrender, or even Thunderstep.
Rock and Roll Machine.
Yeah, I don't know. Just this Allied Forces. I guess that, the whole entry point thing into the Triumph, and Rick Emmett's phenomenal. The first song, Fool for Your Love, with Gilmore singing. I mean, it just kicks ass. And even today, you still hear Magic Power and Fight the Good Fight on rock radio all the time. I mean, the songs have stood the test of time, and that's all I got on it. Great record, and I'm just bummed out that they drove through Thunder Bay in '85. Man, that was my time to see them, and didn't happen.
They got away.
The one that got away.
Yeah.
Well, we're starting the last round now.
Yep.
We're starting the very last round with number ones. Uncle Meat's got a comment here that it was his second concert with his dad at Center in the Square. He thinks he was 12, and Zon, Z-O-N, opened up. I remember that name, Zon, but I don't know much about the band. I am losing the light, but that's okay because we're at our last one here. I'm going to do something here just real quick because we are getting at the end.
Yep.
I am going to post the link. If anybody wants to join in after we're done going through the list here, I've just posted the link. And if you click that link, you can try joining us after we are done here. Because I've never done that before, and it might be kind of fun. My number one that I was shuffling around with Stompin' Tom, I decided to go with Signals by Rush. Reason being is that I just associate Subdivisions with living in Canada so much. Yeah. I really struggled a lot with some of the things on this list, but really I settled on Signals by Rush very early. And then this morning decided it was going to be my number one. It just feels Canadian to me.
Yeah.
Okay, Aaron, you go ahead with your number one or your last record, as the case may be.
They're not numbered. I don't know if this is unprecedented or not, but I'm going to read through this really quickly.
Yep.
And then I'll get to the number one super fast. Are you ready? These are the ones that didn't get in there and should have been. Bare Naked Ladies Gordon, Hawksley Workman, For Him and the Girls, Kathleen Edwards, Failure, Rio Static's Double Live. That would have been the live album that we talked about.
Yes.
Gowan Strange Animal from my childhood.
Yes.
The Sadie's Favorite Colors, the Glenn Goldberg was here. Yep. Weaker Than's Left and Leaving. Gordon Lightfoot. Oh, Hits. I had Hits. I should have taken that out. Big Sugar's first album I mentioned. 5440 Dear Dear. Spirit of the West, Save This House, and Bruce Cockburn, Stealing Fire. So if anybody
Bruce Cockburn, Stealing Fire. Oh,
right. So if anybody wants to go back through all of those, not quite so, you can put YouTube on to half speed and I'll speak slower. And but those are the ones that I thought maybe.
Sorry, you guys keep talking.
Yeah. So I wanted to get those in there because I felt like when we were doing the list, I said we need more than 11, right? Because there are so many. Well, you saw my list of bands. I'm like, man, I can't pick from this. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I tried. So my number one is Neil Young. Now, well, not number one. My last one.
Yeah.
Neil Young. And it's not what you think. It isn't Harvest. It isn't Harvest Moon. It isn't Tonight's the Night.
Interesting.
It is Ragged Glory.
Oh.
Let me tell you why. Because that album kicks ass and can spit 40 feet.
Yes.
It is so powerful and strong, and I love every song on it. You know, well, the last song is a little bit, Neil gets touchy-feely sometimes when he talks about the environment, but that album is just, it's hairy and it's filthy and it's loud and it makes no apologies. I just love it. Farmer John and Country Home and Fucking Up, and there's so many good songs on that record. And so I thought, well, it might be a little controversial to say it because Neil Young has so much good music, but if I was reaching for one right now, I'm in a Ragged Glory mood. So let's get in there and give her.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Kevin Semister loves Ragged Glory.
Yes.
Hey, Kevin, I posted the join link if you wanted to join us at the last minute here. I'm losing the light, just so everybody knows. I'm losing the light, and I have some domestic duties to attend to as I have to go and do some barbecuing for a late dinner.
Nice.
So I will not be hanging around long. But Kevin, please join us if you can.
Yeah, my kids just came back too, so I'll probably have to go help get them to bed.
So we're gonna have to get back to life here, but. Super Deeks, I guess you're wrapping up the show for us, buddy.
What's it gonna be?
You guys seriously ready? Is
the
room ready for this?
Dude, as ready as I'm gonna be.
It's Rush.
Okay.
Fucking A.
Quick story.
Fucking A.
I agree with everything you said, Mikey. Cool story about finding this one was when me and T-Bone went to Montreal on my 50th. And we're at the big record store, Ox 333 or whatever it's called. Thousands of records in Troy.
I've been in there. O2 333 or something. Yeah.
T-Bone was over in the new used releases, and I was just fumbling around in the alphabetical section, and all I heard him was Deke, and he just held this up, and I said, "Hold it, don't put it down." So yeah, I picked this one up in Montreal, and this was. I got Moving Pictures and Exit Stage Left as Christmas gifts in '81. So this is my entry into Rush, buying it with my own allowance back in 1982. So for that, yeah, this is even if I didn't have this on record, I would have had to somehow. It's just my favorite all-time Canadian album, man. It's Rush.
Yeah. Rob Daniels wants to know where the join link is. Rob, I just posted it. Let me see if I can cut and paste it again.
Hey, get that.
Rob, let me know if you can see. Let me know if you can see that comment there with the. If not, you know what? I maybe I can send it to him directly. One little thing I'll say about Signals, Mr. Deke, is like I started getting into Rush a little bit later than you guys, but Signals was one of the first albums that I bought on CD, and I bought it at Future Shop. If you remember Future Shop, and I bought it on one of those Mobile Fidelity 24 karat gold CDs, which they're actually kind of neat. I don't think you can actually hear the difference, but I did buy it on that as I try to write Robert Daniels a message here. Why are you not? Why is it not filling in your name, Robert Daniels? It's not auto-filling, Robert Daniels. Why? There we go. Robert Daniels. Okay, I'm sending you the join link if you want to pop in for a hello. You've never met Aaron before. Oh, there's Rob. Who's that? Oh, that's Kevin. Kevin. We got Kevin.
Ah,
Hello, Kevin.
Hello.
Hey,
now we're
okay?
Now we're big time.
I don't think so. This is small time, man.
Look at your microphone, man.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Every time I turn on YouTube, you're on YouTube, man.
Yeah, I know it's a bit excessive, right?
It's all good.
Well, thanks for joining us right at the tail end here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I have to correct you, Mike, because it's not me. I'm okay with it, but Sarah gets really upset when you say our last name. It's Simister, like Lemmy Kilmister, not Semister.
Oh, damn it!
That's okay. It's okay. I don't.
It's going to take a hard. I'm so used to saying it one way that it's going to be Simister.
Simister. Just think like Lemmy Kilmister.
Just call him Mr. and Mrs. Lemmy.
Or that. I'm fine with anything, really.
Mrs. Mars.
It's really Sarah who's bothered by it, not me, honestly.
Wow.
But I'm surprised I didn't see any Guess Who. You didn't pick
Holy
any
crap.
Guess Who?
Holy crap. Hang on.
My goodness.
Hang on. We got some crazy stuff happening here.
Oh, it's really Sarah.
Oh my God. We have a full house.
I'm surprised I didn't see any Guess Who. You didn't pick
Holy
any Guess
crap.
Who?
I almost did. Hang on. We got some crazy stuff happening here.
Oh, it's really Sarah.
Oh my God.
It's crazy echo time.
House.
I'm surprised I didn't see any Guess Who. You didn't pick any
the Guess Who is right here.
Hang on. We got some crazy stuff happening here.
Oh, really Sarah.
Oh my God.
It's crazy.
House.
I'm surprised
People have too many windows open. Okay, I think that's better. We had too many windows open. The meat man appears frozen. But hey, Rob, how are you doing?
Frozen meat.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Good.
Are you doing Visions and Sound tonight?
I am doing Visions and Sound tonight. It is the 30th anniversary of the 1990 film Hardware.
Hardware.
Yep. With music by Ministry, Public Image Limited, and there's a great score by Simon Boswell.
Cool.
And, next week will be Bigfoot movies.
Oh.
And what else is coming up? Oh boy. 25th anniversary of The Dig. I do have in September stuff from The Mandalorian.
Oh, cool. I like that soundtrack.
Mike, if you want to be involved with that show, that'd be great.
Maybe we can do it somehow like this.
Exactly. This is what I was thinking. I mean, either over Skype. Oh, we're looking up at Uncle Meat here. That's kind of scary.
He shaved his head.
Hey, Mike, just so you know, it works on the phone. I'm doing it right now.
Sweet. I wasn't 100% sure because I knew you needed Google Chrome, but apparently, and I was talking to Kevin earlier because he hooked me up with this site, and Kevin recommended a computer. I was only having luck with a computer, so if you're doing it on a phone, that's awesome. I don't need to change a setup if I want to have you on.
It may have been because I didn't need to create an account or log in or anything. It may have been because you were already broadcasting that it just allows it. Because I literally didn't have to sign up for anything.
Well, that's cool, man. You shouldn't have had to sign up for anything, so that's good. Well, listen, guys, as you can see, it's getting pretty dark here, and I gotta cook some pork chops. Deke's taking a picture of the screen. You know what? I'm gonna do the same thing because why not? So yeah, thank you for joining, everybody, and I think
good luck, guys.
This has been a blast, and it's so promising to see that here we got 6 guys all at the same time with no issues. Yeah. We'll have to see what next week brings. I haven't even thought about it yet, so I guess we'll just have to see. So yeah, I'm gonna go make some dinner, and thank you so much for rocking this, and I will get it up on YouTube as soon as I possibly can.
Awesome, and thank you for including me. This is my first, so thank you.
And thank you for coming, man. We'll do more.
Yeah,
and Kevin,
guys.
Kevin, Rob, and Eric, thanks for joining us at the end here.
Yeah,
good to see everybody.
See you guys.
Cheers. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
How do I shut it? Oh, there.